The chief of the General Staff of Russia, Valery Gerasimov, announced the commencement of combat launches of the Burevestnik missile. This news provoked a sharp reaction from U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who demanded an immediate halt to the launches. The Burevestnik has become one of the most discussed and controversial missiles in Russia's arsenal. In the U.S., it is considered not only one of the most dangerous types of weapons in the world but is also characterized as inhumane. Since its emergence in 2020, U.S. authorities have persistently called for its prohibition, despite having very limited information about the missile's technical specifications and potential. This situation creates tension in international relations, highlighting growing concerns about strategic balance worldwide. The Burevestnik missile operates at a low Earth orbit where U.S. air defense systems find themselves powerless. This delivery system is capable of carrying nuclear warheads, and Washington remains in the dark regarding their quantity in Russia's arsenal. Equipped with a nuclear engine, the missile can orbit the Earth indefinitely after launch. In the United States, officials recognize that once the Burevestnik is launched, it will almost certainly reach its target upon receiving the appropriate signal. Alternatively, if a different code is not transmitted within the designated time, a pre-programmed algorithm will activate. Thus, the threats posed by this high-tech weapon raise concerns among Western analysts and military officials. Anthology of hysteria in the USA. Since Russia unveiled its Burevestnik missile to the world, a genuine panic has ensued in the United States. Initially, there were reports of test launches, followed by news of the missile entering combat duty, and now it has come time for the combat launches of the Burevestniks. From the perspective of American strategy, there exists the concept of a preemptive nuclear strike, which raises a pertinent question. Why would Russia ramp up its combat launches? Perhaps it is an attempt to deter similar actions against itself. Such actions inevitably raise numerous questions regarding the purpose of the Burevestniks. Who knows what tasks the missile might be assigned in the current situation? History has seen precedents where similar systems could target key figures, including high-profile names like Biden, Austin, or Blinken. These remain nothing more than conjectures, but they certainly highlight the thin line between defense and aggression in the modern world. Why is the West so apprehensive about the new Russian strategic missile? Russian military officials are completing the construction of a base for Burevestniks equipped with a nuclear power system. This was reported by Reuters on September 3, citing findings from expert Decker E. Valeda of the American Center for Naval Analysis (CNA). Despite its name, the CNA is a civilian organization that conducts defense-related research. On the same day, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov stated that Russia is revising its nuclear doctrine. This statement, alongside the conclusions from the CNA expert, sparked heated discussions in Western media and expert circles. An analysis of the situation leads to the conclusion that the completion of the base for Burevestniks and the revision of key elements of Russia's nuclear strategy are closely interconnected. What exactly is a missile with a nuclear power plant? This innovation implies not only an increase in flight range but also new opportunities for covert and maneuverable combat operations. The location of the base also raises questions. Where exactly will these missiles be deployed, and how will this affect the strategic balance of power in the world? With the advent of Burevestniks, the world may face changes in global nuclear policy, heightening tensions and prompting countries to reevaluate their defensive strategies. This situation underscores the need for careful monitoring of the development of Russia's military technical capabilities and potential responses from the West. Mysteries on wings. Burevestnik from Putin's 7. Burevestnik occupies a special place among the 7 latest weapon systems known as Putin's 7, which Vladimir Putin introduced in his addresses to the Federal Assembly in 2018 and 2019. This list includes technological achievements such as the underwater drone Poseidon, combat maneuvering hypersonic missiles Kinzhal and T-Sirkin, as well as the combat laser Burevestnik. However, Burevestnik stands out among its counterparts due to its enigmatic nature. Even before Putin's announcement of the new systems, 6 of them were already known, and many garnered attention through presentations and reports from American intelligence. For instance, T-Sirkin and Poseidon became hot topics in the media. Other systems, such as Avangard and Sarmat, were primarily known only to niche circles of military technology enthusiasts. Kinzhal, Burevestnik, and even Poseidon and Avangard have their roots in developments initiated as early as the 1980s, information about which has been mentioned repeatedly in both the media and popular science literature. In contrast, Burevestnik seemingly emerged from thin air. It was not reported by foreign intelligence, nor was it discussed in specialized forums or the media. There are no traces indicating that any work on creating this weapon system is underway. Even now, there is no information on which design bureau is responsible for its development and at which factory the new system is planned to be assembled. Nevertheless, the Burevestnik represents the most ambitious project among the 7 systems. The other 6, while unique, are based on previously known developments, and the feasibility of their creation has already been demonstrated. The working principle of the Burevestnik can be described as follows. Air enters the air intake of its propulsion system, where powerful heating elements powered by a reactor are located inside the missile. This allows the missile to achieve speeds comparable to those of modern cruise missiles, such as the American M129 and the European SKP, reaching 700 to 900 km per hour. However, the characteristics of the Burevestnik remain a secret, which only enhances the interest and mystery surrounding this latest weapon. Can the Burevestnik really fly almost indefinitely? Theoretically, the Burevestnik can remain in the air until its reactor exhausts its active zone. This could take decades, if not longer. Why is the Burevestnik referred to as the Flying Chernobyl? This term emerged among Western experts who hastily claimed that the air passing through the cruise missile's engine would be highly radioactive. In reality, this assertion is completely unfounded. The reactor does not interact with the air directly. Its function is to supply electricity to the heating elements. An important part of the design is the physical protection that isolates the system and components of the missile from radiation. Interestingly, the initial arguments from Western analysts about contaminated air were based on a single claim. They believe that these Ivans are incapable of creating a safe reactor and merely reminded everyone of Chernobyl. Nuances and complexities. Previously, there were projects in the USSR and the USA involving aircraft with nuclear power plants based on large strategic bombers, such as the Tu-95 and B-52. In comparison, the Burevestnik is quite a large missile, as clearly demonstrated by official videos from the Russian Ministry of Defense showcasing its production facilities. However, in terms of size, it is significantly smaller than strategic bombers, implying that its engine and, importantly, its nuclear reactor must be considerably miniaturized. Furthermore, the nuclear power plant must withstand significant overloads during flight. Currently, the creation of such a protected and compact reactor remains an unresolved challenge. Thus, despite its high theoretical operability, the Burevestnik faces numerous technical and engineering challenges that render its realization highly questionable. A second key issue with the Burevestnik is its navigation. There are often claims that if GPS or GLONASS satellites are disabled, any cruise missile will crash. A prominent example of such statements is the discussion surrounding the dozens of American Tomahawks that were shot down by Russian air defense systems during attacks on Syrian airbases in 2017. However, such assertions are quite far from reality. Cruise missiles utilize navigation by extreme points, allowing them to fly at minimal altitude. In specific areas, the missile ascends several hundred meters, where it uses optical systems or radar to scan the terrain below before descending again. This process is repeated multiple times throughout the flight. The missile's memory contains a detailed map of its route, and the onboard computer compares the collected data with a reference, adjusting the course as necessary. Such an approach is suitable for conventional missiles with a flight range of 300 to 5,000 kilometers, but the Burevestnik has a significantly greater range. Nuclear-capable cruise missiles typically travel most of their route over the sea, where navigation through extreme points becomes virtually impossible. This creates additional challenges and requires a completely different approach to navigation, raising doubts about the effectiveness of the methods used. Project Invisible. An overview of Russian cruise missile development. In Russia, there are 2 leading scientific schools engaged in the development of cruise missiles. The first is the design bureau Radiga, which worked on the Burevestnik project. However, according to open sources, testing of the Burevestnik was conducted at 2 test sites. At Kapustin Yar, tests were carried out on the missile itself, as well as on the control and navigation systems, while flights with a nuclear installation occurred on new land. For these tests, 2 laboratory aircraft based on the IL-76 were sometimes used. Interestingly, the Burevestnik is often associated with the incident in Neonoxa in 2019, when an explosion led to injuries and a small release of radiation. This event has been a topic of discussion in Western media when mentioning the cruise missile with a nuclear energy installation. However, according to available information, zircon may have been tested in Neonoxa, or some new weapon container was being tested. Western experts and media claim that since 2018, there have been only a few tests of the Burevestnik, most of which ended in failures. However, considering the unique capabilities of this new cruise missile, one might assume that there were significantly more launches, and that all of them were successful. NATO and U.S. intelligence agencies were unable to detect these events. Analysts Decker and Lita believe that the construction of the object in the photographs is likely related to a base for storing conventional munitions, rather than for Burevestniks. Russia also needs to develop infrastructure for the Leningrad military district. In an official video presented by the Russian Ministry of Defense, it can be seen that the Burevestnik launches from a mobile launch platform. In the future, there is a possibility of launching it from an aircraft, ship, or submarine. Information about the Burevestnik becoming part of Russia's strategic arsenal emerged back in 2018, when Vladimir Putin presented new weapon systems. Since then, it has become clear that these new systems could lead to a revision of Russia's nuclear strategy. Discussions on this topic have been ongoing for the past few years, and in light of the experience of the special military operation, there is an evident need to revise the relevant documents. Therefore, changes in the doctrine are related not only to the Burevestnik but also to the overall global situation.